You know that feeling, right? That weird little ache. Or maybe something you just can't place. Or even just a health question bouncing around your head. What's the first thing so many of us do? Like instinctively. We grab our phone, open a browser or an app, and start searching. And you're definitely not the only one. I mean, look at Microsoft's platforms. Bing, Copilot, they handle over 50 million health searches every single day. It's a staggering number of people looking for answers online.
Okay, let's unpack this, because today we're diving into something really cutting edge. We're talking about how advanced artificial intelligence is starting to tackle some of medicine's toughest diagnostic puzzles.
Yeah, so our mission really for this deep dive is to dig into some fascinating research from Microsoft AI. It's called the Path to Medical Superintelligence. We want to pull up the key bits, give you those aha moments, and help you really get how AI isn't just like helping out anymore. It's potentially transforming how diagnoses happen. And there are some really surprising findings about accuracy and even cost effectiveness. So let's set the scene a bit first. Healthcare demand globally, it's just constantly climbing. And costs, they're ballooning. It feels unsustainable, really. You've got billions of people facing real barriers to good health. Often it's down to inaccurate diagnoses, or diagnoses that just come too late. And like we just said, people are already turning to digital tools first. Search engines, AI assistants, they've kind of become the new front door to healthcare for many.
That's exactly right. And Microsoft AI saw this huge global challenge. So late in 2024, they launched a dedicated consumer health effort. This isn't just, a few engineers tinkering. It's a big team, clinicians, designers, engineers, AI scientists, all working together. And it fits nicely with other things they're doing, like Red-Dino for radiology.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Improving X-ray analysis and things.
Exactly. And also Microsoft Dragon Copilot. That's a voice AI assistant for doctors. But crucially, for any of this AI stuff to actually help people in the real world, we have to build trust. Trust in its performance is absolutely key.
Right. And when AI first started getting into medicine, people used exams like the USMLE, the medical licensing exam in the US, as a benchmark. It's kind of wild, isn't it? In just about 3 years, generative AI went from, well, not great to getting near perfect scores on those tests.
It is impressive on the surface,
Yeah.
but this raises an important question. How good a benchmark is the USMLE, really, for clinical practice? These exams, they heavily rely on multiple choice questions, which, test memorization.
But not necessarily deep thinking.
Exactly. It doesn't fully capture the complex reasoning a doctor uses day to day, so those near-perfect scores. They might overstate how competent the AI actually is in a real, messy clinical situation. They can hide limitations.
Okay, so if multiple choice tests aren't the whole picture, how did Microsoft AI try to test if an AI can really think like a doctor, in a realistic scenario?
Well, they focused on something called sequential diagnosis.
Sequential diagnosis.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
It's basically how doctors actually work. It's fundamental. You start with the patient's symptoms, right? Then you decide, okay, what questions do I need to ask next? What tests should I order? It's iterative.
Like a detective gathering clues step by step.
Precisely. So maybe someone comes in with a cough and fever. The doctor thinks, okay, it could be pneumonia. Let's get some blood work, maybe a chest x-ray. Each step informs the next until you arrive at the final diagnosis.
Got it. So they needed cases complex enough to test that kind of step-by-step reasoning.
Right. And they found the perfect source, the New England Journal of Medicine's case records. From Massachusetts General Hospital. These aren't simple cases. They're published because they're diagnostically challenging, often needing multiple specialists. They're detailed narrative. Basically the toughest puzzles medicine throws out there.
So how did they turn those published cases into something an AI could tackle?
They created what they call the Sequential Diagnosis Benchmark, or SD-Bench. They took 304 recent NEJM cases and broke them down into these stepwise encounters. So an AI model or a human doctor, for comparison, could say, okay, based on this info, I want to ask this question, or I want to order this specific test. Then they get the result, update their thinking, and take the next step, moving towards the final diagnosis published in the NEJM.
Okay, that makes sense. Simulating the process.
But here's a really smart addition. What's fascinating here is that each test or question requested in the SEG bench has a virtual cost associated with it.
So it's not just about getting the right answer, but also how you get there, like efficiently.
Exactly. It lets them evaluate two things at once. Diagnostic accuracy, obviously, but also resource expenditure, just like in a real hospital where you can't just order every test imaginable.
That's really clever. It mirrors real-world constraints.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. How did they actually get the AI to perform so well on this tough benchmark?
They introduced a system called the Microsoft AI Diagnostic Orchestrator, MAI-DxO for short.
An orchestrator. What does that mean in this context?
Think of it like, well, a conductor leading an orchestra, or maybe a project manager for the AI's diagnostic process. MAI-DxO sits on top of the underlying AI language models, the GPTs, llamas, Claudes of the world. They tested a whole bunch of them.
So it's coordinating different AI players.
Kind of. It's designed to act like a virtual panel of doctors, maybe with different specialties or approaches, all working on the same case. It can ask follow-up questions, decide which test to order next, propose a diagnosis, check the costs, and this is crucial. It verifies its own reasoning before moving on.
Verifies its own reasoning.
Yeah. It essentially prompts the underlying model to double-check its logic, consider alternatives, make sure it hasn't missed something. It adds a layer of safety and transparency.
Which you absolutely need in medicine.
Absolutely. These orchestrators are key to making AI safer and more adaptable for complex tasks like diagnostics.
Okay, so they built this MAI-DxO orchestrator, ran it with top AI models on the super tough SD bench cases. What happened?
The results were, well, pretty astonishing. MAI-DxO improved the diagnostic performance of every single AI model they tested it with.
Every single one.
Yep. And the best combination, MAI-DxO paired with OpenAI's model at the time, O3, it correctly diagnosed 85.5% of those incredibly complex NEJM benchmark cases.
85.5%. Wow. Okay, but what's the comparison? How did humans do?
Ah, yes, the comparison point. They had 21 practicing doctors, experienced clinicians from the US and UK, 5 to 20 years under their belts tackle the exact same cases on the SD bench.
Okay.
Their average accuracy was 20%. 20%.
Wait, 20 compared to 85?
Correct. The MAI-DxO combination was more than 4 times more accurate than the experienced physicians on these specific, very difficult tasks. It's a huge difference.
That is staggering.
Yeah.
But my first thought goes to cost. Did it achieve that accuracy by just, ordering every possible test? Was it incredibly expensive in terms of those virtual costs?
That's the immediate question, isn't it? And what's fascinating here, again, is the answer no. MAI-DxO delivered both higher accuracy and lower overall testing costs compared to the physicians or any of the individual AI models running alone.
Lower costs, too. How?
It seems the orchestrator helps the AI be more targeted, more efficient in its investigation. It avoids unnecessary tests. And this matters because overtesting is a massive problem in healthcare. Think millions, maybe billions, wasted on tests that don't really help the patient each year, just in the US.
So this suggests AI could actually help reduce that waste.
The potential is certainly there. It was more accurate, more frugal, at least in this benchmark.
So what does this all mean? Let's zoom out. What are the big implications here?
Well, one thing this highlights is AI's unique ability to combine breadth and depth of knowledge. A human doctor might be a great generalist or a deep specialist, but it's hard to be both across the entire spectrum of medicine.
But an AI trained on vast data can kind of do that, span the whole field for these complex cases.
Potentially, yes. It can draw connections across different specialties in a way that might be challenging for a single human brain.
Okay, so that's the AI's capability. How might that change healthcare?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, well, there are a few possibilities. This kind of reasoning could empower us as patients to manage more routine care ourselves with AI guidance, and for clinicians, it could offer powerful decision support, especially for those really tricky, complex cases, freeing them up for other aspects of care.
And the cost angle seems huge, too.
Definitely. Reducing unnecessary costs is a major goal. Some estimates say up to a quarter of U.S. health spending might be waste tests, procedures that don't improve outcomes. If AI can help trim that even a bit.
That would be massive. But, okay, we need to be realistic. What are the limitations here? This was a specific study, a specific benchmark.
Absolutely. Important caveats. MAI-DxO did great on these super complex NEJM cases. But we need more testing on, the everyday stuff, the common coughs and colds, the routine checkups. How does it perform there?
Right, does it work for the common things, too?
We don't know yet from this specific research. Also, remember the human doctors in the comparison group?
Yeah, they scored 20%.
They worked alone. No access to colleagues for a second opinion, no textbooks, not even access to basic generative AI tools themselves.
Which is not how doctors normally work, right? They consult, they look things up.
Exactly. It was designed to test raw human diagnostic ability against the AI's raw ability for a fair comparison of the core reasoning process. But it's a tough setup for any doctor.
So it shows the potential, but it's not the final word.
Not at all. This is really just the first step, a very promising step, but still early. We absolutely need more evidence. studies in real clinics with real patients. And crucially, we need the right governance, the right regulations in place before any of this generative AI gets deployed widely and safely in healthcare.
Is Microsoft working on that, the real-world testing?
Yes, they emphasize they're actively partnering with major health organizations to do exactly that rigorous testing and validation in clinical settings. That's essential.
Okay, so that leads to the big questions listeners probably have. First, is this AI safe to use for my health right now?
Let's be crystal clear on safety. The work we've discussed, it's research, it's a demonstration. It is not approved for clinical use yet, period. Any real-world use would only happen after intense safety testing, proving it works reliably in clinical trials, and getting regulatory green lights, like from the FDA. Safety, trust, quality, those have to be paramount. That's the focus before anything reaches a patient.
Okay, that's crucial. And the other big question, will AI replace doctors? Is that where this is headed?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Look, the team at Microsoft, which includes practicing doctors, firmly believes AI is a complement to healthcare professionals, not a replacement.
A tool to help them.
Exactly. Being a doctor or a nurse, it's so much more than just diagnosing. It's about empathy, building trust, navigating uncertainty with patients and families. Things AI just isn't built for.
A human element.
The vital human element. What we expect is that clinical roles will evolve. AI might handle routine tasks, help spot diseases earlier, personalize treatments, maybe even help prevent illness. And for us, as patients, it could mean better tools to manage our own health, to have more informed conversations with our doctors, shared decision-making.
So augmenting, not replacing.
That's the vision, augmenting human expertise and empathy.
Right. So just to wrap up the main points from this deep dive, we've seen this MAI-DxO system achieve really impressive diagnostic accuracy on super complex cases, and surprisingly, it did it while being more cost-effective than humans or other AIs in the benchmark.
Enabled by that innovative sequential diagnosis benchmark, the SD bench.
And it paints this picture of AI as a potentially powerful assistant in healthcare, working alongside humans.
And maybe a final thought for you to consider. This raises an important question. As AI gets better and better at this kind of medical reasoning, how might our own role, our personal role, in managing our health change? What new ways might open up for us to be more active, more informed partners with our doctors and nurses?
A lot to think about indeed. How do we leverage these tools ourselves? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into AI diagnostics. We hope you'll keep exploring these fascinating developments.